Good morning, booktubers. So it's been a little while since the first video I posted this morning. I've had a little more time to do some laundry and get myself together. And so I wanted to come back and do a TBR for Bout of Books 8.0, which is a readathon that will be going on this week. I will link to my blog post below because I've already checked in there. So, with week-long readathons, I think there is a great possibility to set personal goals. And I haven't had a chance to look at what challenges and stuff will be going on for Bout of Books that are actually hosted by the Bout of Books folks. But I do know personally, I have a lot going on at work this week, and my online classes are starting, so personal life will be a little bit busy. But I would still like to shoot for at least 100, 125 pages of reading per day. If I can surpass that, that's great. But that's kind of just my personal goal, what I'm shooting for. I also really like the idea of tackling a classic. I've been reading lots of classics lately for the Classics Club. And there's actually a Classics Club spin going on right now. So I have like a list of 20 classics on my blog. And the Classics Club will pick a random number, 1 through 20. And then you read the book that is chosen. So I do have a lot more classics coming up here soon. But I love the idea of getting another one knocked out this week. Also really like the idea of tackling a book that's been on my shelves for a really long time. So you'll see that I have a couple of possibilities for that as well. So I'm a really fickle reader. It might change this week, but these are the books that I'm considering that I think at this point might fit my mood the best. So the first one is a book I recently hauled. This is Summer at Tiffany by Marjorie Hart, and it is a nonfiction book. And as I was looking through it this morning, I realized that the font and the spacing is really huge. So it's like probably close to a 300-page book, but I don't think it would take me very long to read it. So if I need to break up my fiction reading a little bit, this is probably a good bet. If I choose to read a classic this week, more than likely it will be The Painted Veil by W. Somerset Maugham. I have never read Maugham, but I'm really excited. And as I was looking through this book, the font's not huge, but it's not tiny either, and it has incredibly short chapters. Like, a lot of the chapters are no longer than a page or two. And so I often find that if I'm reading a book that has super short chapters like that, it gives me a lot of forward momentum. I always feel like I'm making good progress, and so I think this would be a great choice for the readathon. I also love the cover. I just want to pet it. It's beautiful. So, yeah, a good bet there as well. If I don't get to it this week, I know that I will be getting to it soon, and that is Geek Love by Katherine Dunn. This book just sounds wonderfully twisted. So even if I don't make it this week, there is a Readers Imbibing Peril, RIP reading event coming up in September and October that happens every year. This is the 8th year that it's been happening, and so this book could also fit nicely into that reading as well. I'm also considering The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell, and this is the last book that I have. I've talked about it recently. The last book that I have in my stacks for the Estella project. So if I finish this book, I will have read the 3 books that I intended to read this summer for that challenge. So it's quite lengthy. It has pretty small font. So I don't know if I'll finish this book this week, but if I could at least get a good start on it, that would be fantastic. If I need something super quick, we have The Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan, and I've read a few pages, and I know I'm going to really like it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and a super fast read, so that's a very likely book this week. As far as classics go, I've also been considering Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, which would be that book, which is super small, and I've also considered Persuasion by Jane Austen. And I don't know that I'll get to these this week. I do want to get to them very soon because I'm really just in the mood to read them. I think the Maugham book would be a quicker read for a readathon and kind of keep the momentum going. But yeah, I'm just totally in love with these covers and with the premise of these books. So they're coming up on the stacks very soon. And finally, another book that I'm considering this week is Jamrack's Menagerie by Carol Birch. It sounds like a really intriguing premise. It involves Victorian London. It involves some international travel, and it just sounds really magical and really cool. So this one I can see definitely coming up this week. And I thought that was the last one, but it's not. If I'm going to tackle a book that has been on my shelves the longest, I really need to consider Watchmen by Alan Moore. I've mentioned before that I really love graphic novels, and I've actually had a couple of requests to do a video about graphic novels, so that will be coming up soon. But when I was in graduate school, one of my specialties was graphic narrative. I wrote my master's thesis on the Fables series by Bill Willingham, and I took classes on graphic novels and, was into scholarship on graphic novels. I went to conferences and published papers and things like that on graphic novels, which was so much fun. So much fun. It should be illegal to be able to make a living studying graphic novels. Not really, because it's awesome, but whatever. So I've had this book on my shelves for ages. I bought it for a class. I didn't get to take the class just because of some circumstances that came up. So I've had this book on my shelves for forever, since like 2006. And I'm not terribly drawn to the artwork, because the artwork is like very traditional comic booky art, and I tend to like something a little more whimsical or a little bit more, a little bit more contrast, a little bit more punch. But I can't really claim that as an excuse, because the Fable series, the art is very much like that as well, and I love that series, probably more than any other series. So yeah, I really need to read Watchmen. I enjoyed the movie adaptation, and I'm certain that the book is much, much better. So I'm hoping to dive into this and finish it this week. Comics are always a super fast read for me, so even though it's chunky in comparison to some, I know it would be really super fast, so I need to get over myself and read it. So yeah, those are the books that I am considering for Bout of Books 8.0. We'll see if I actually read them, or if my fickle moods get in the way and I choose something else. So if you are participating in Bout of Books, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you have to say this week and watching your check-ins, and I'll see you soon. Bye.